Hello, welcome to the Toronto International Film Festival and to the Q&A recording for AHED'S KNEE by Nadav Lapid, which is screening as part of our special presentations program. My name is Andrea Picard and I'm a senior programmer at Tiff, and it's my pleasure to be in conversation with the film's writer and director, Nadav Lapid. Welcome, Nadav.
Hi Andrea, how are you?
I'm well, how are you?
I'm fine. I'm in Czech Republic, in Karlovy Vary, just after a presentation, a screening of the movie.
Well, congratulations. The film has had a lot of success already so far, including the jury prize in Cannes. And I saw that it was just nominated for a number of Ophir Awards that are like the equivalent of the Oscars in Israel. So it seems the more anti-establishment you get, the more praise you get from the establishment.
Yeah, you're trapped. You're trapped. You cannot get out. Yeah.
I think you enjoy that, though, no?
In a certain way, yeah.
Like all of your films, Ahed's KNEE is intensely personal, very physical film, but it feels way more urgent than your other films. Can you talk about the spirit of urgency?
Yeah, I think that urgency is maybe the guide for me for the reading of this movie. I wrote the script for AHED'S KNEE in 2 weeks, 2 weeks and a half. I think 2-3 days before I started writing the script, I didn't have any idea that I'm going to make this movie. I had another project in mind. I wasn't even thinking about it. I'm not someone mystical, but it's really the first time that I felt that in a way it's the movie who demanded me to write it, then to cast it, and to shoot it, and to edit it. The shooting began several months after I ended writing the script, and we shot the movie in 18 days, which is nothing, and we edited in 2 months, which is nothing, and we mixed it in 2 weeks, and then we waited 1 year because we were ready for Cannes 2020, but we all know what happened in 2020. So we ended the year, but as you said, the urgency was the key word, and I think that you can feel it in the movie.
Yeah, you can definitely feel it. As in all of your films, I mean, there's this great conflicted attitude towards Israel, but here I really feel like there's a boiling over point of frustration and rage that was just like uncontainable. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's a reflection of my deepest maybe feelings and truth regarding Israel, but also of the moment that the film was created. It was I started writing the film just after 3 weeks after my mother, who was also the editor of my movies, passed away. It was the genesis was events that resemble a little bit to what's happening in the movie that took place 1 month earlier when I was invited in the desert and by a very charming and nice bureaucrat from the Ministry of Culture, who at the end mentioned that I should fill a form detailing what I will and what I will not talk about. It was the harshest days of censorship and political pressure in Israel. It's not like today. It's really different. But you could feel anxiety and fear, and people were whispering when they were talking about their project, and were using all the time like 3 points to end sentences, like I'm doing a film about, and maybe it will also talk about, people were talking like this in hints. So I think that I was in a period when I felt first of all personal disaster or tragedy. My mother was, first of all, my mother, and also my my principal artistic partner. And I think that for me, in a way, the personal death was always linked or connected or accompanied by the feeling of a collective death. And I think, in a way, I felt that well, Israel will exist and will keep on existing, I guess, as a place, but that it become an impossible place to live in. And in a way, I think that the movie deals a little bit with this, with what's happened, not with Israel, but with what happens to a person who lives in life surrounded by or in a land is impossible to live in. What happened to someone who's all the time lives in a form of resistance, an endless battle, who all the time feels and maybe is right that he's surrounded by enemies, by dragons and monsters. What does he become?
I think the film deals with this thematically, but also formally. I mean, you've been moving towards a more radical style. There was a certain freneticism in Synonyms, but here, with the clashes of the camera, the fragments of the body, there's a real kind of these cuts, the coupures that are very abrupt. So can you talk about sort of like the abrasiveness of the camera?
I mean, I think that the only truth of this movie was to go beyond the dry concrete description of the events to the emotional and intellectual essence. I mean, the movie wasn't about what you see, but what does it evoke in your heart and in your mind? What the things you see or you feel or the people you meet evoke in your heart and in your mind. And before the movie, before I started think about the shooting, I was watching again and again and again these famous videos of Jackson Pollock, who's like running and hitting the how do you call it in English, yeah, exactly. And I try to understand how I make a movie that will resemble to it, how I make a movie that will resemble to German expressionism, like there is this famous sentence, I don't want to paint the car, but the emotions that the car left in my heart after it passed it. Mm-hmm. But it was really because I felt that this is the truth of the movie. I mean the truth of the movie was to push each moment to the top of its truth, sincerity, and essence. In a way, I think that in the movie, I felt that everything should be essential because it's. I mean, it's a daily thing. A director goes to a screening of one of his previous movies. It sounds very boring, but it's a mentally permanently boiling, I think, movie. So I try to I had to fabricate this radiography of the soul and of the mind with the camera, and it's not easy with the camera because the camera is a very dry tool. It's not like when you paint and you can do like, I don't know, Van Gogh, but camera is a very dry tool. So you have to put the camera in danger. You have, in a way, to not to permit the camera to keep it distance. To destroy the camera or to make it impossible for the camera to stay objective. So I think there's also fighting against the camera, fighting against the normal pace of editing,
Yeah, I think the disorientation that the viewer feels is also an interesting one because it puts us in conflict as well, and we're trying to have to find our own positioning. But in addition to the camera, the performances are very physical. So can you talk about your casting?
Yeah, so I mean, like the main actor is, his name is Avshalom Pollak in Israel. He comes from a renowned family of actors and of political activists in Israel. He was a big star 30 years ago when he was very young in a TV series. It became kind of mythical, and as a reaction to this, he quit acting and became a choreographer, and wasn't standing in front of a camera for 30 years. And well, there were many things about him that led me to make this choice. But if I should resume them to two main elements, I would say that the technical one was the fact that he is a choreographer, he's a creator, and I think that in many movies you see like actors playing artists, and you don't really, this guy is really doing like a shooting script, or is really doing a shooting plan, or is really doing a location. I mean it's complicated to find an actor that will bring you this feeling of film director, for instance. But moreover, what was really powerful for me about Avshalom is that I think that he has this violence and this rage, but also this fragility. I mean, I was looking at him, and I was feeling that in a way he can collapse and even when he's in the position of full team power or team dominance, even when he's cruel, even when he's mean, even when he's terrible, even when he's tormenting the other character, at the end is like always like 1 centimeter, 1 millimeter, 1 second from collapsing. And also when we were talking about his character, I told him all the time, actually all the time you have the taste of sand in your mouth. All the time you know that at the end you'll get there, you'll get to the sand, you'll get to the earth. So this was Avshalom. Also, maybe because of the fact that he's choreographer, maybe not, but I don't like so much to talk with psychological explanation for each scene, and I prefer to relate to it. That's the way I think about acting, but movie making in general as a kind of rhythm. Like, and he really understood it. Like our dialogues, it was like I told him, like, you understand, here you are like ta 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 ta, and then you are ta 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 like this. It was, and he said, yeah, of course, I know, and he knew. So this was Avshalom, and the other main character, this from the Minister of Culture. So she's the actress. Her name is Nur Fibak. It was her first performance. She's really a debutante. How they say it in English? And I felt that what was strong about her is that she totally didn't obey the rules, the melody of the movie. She had, I think, like the movie was very. I think the movie was hard, wild, strange, ruthless, desperate, and she was like vivid, shining, smiling, normal, optimistic, and she brought her melody inside, and if I mean, in a way, with Avshalom we were too close. We were almost like the same person, and with Nur we were very 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 different. And with him I was talking with melody, and with her, I mean, we were talking like two normal people with words. And I think she brought this normality inside. This normality is almost a bug in this normal movie.
But the chemistry really works, and you feel that contradiction, which is like a constant push and pull, whether it's sexual, magnetic, and also
I felt that, because I think that without telling too much, but I think that after 15 minutes of the movie, there is no one single spectator that is not convinced that in the following, I don't know, 40 minutes they are going to sleep together at least twice. But again, without telling too much, it's not this, because it's in a way like, a lot of things connect them, but more is separating them.
There's also these shift in tones, like he's very physical and brutish, and then of course, when he's sending messages to his mother, he's softer. But then there's also the choices you make, where there's the Vanessa Paradis, so there's these tonal shifts, and it's hard for us to get a grasp, but I think that's really the strength of the film as well.
I think that the film, I aspired the film to be emotionally chaotic as I feel that life is. Like I must say that in general, I always feel that we all know, all of us people who live on this earth, that life is a very strange, hard to explain, and often chaotic thing. And when we watch our movies, we see very often formulas. We see very often pieces that are much more organized than life is. And maybe I was also in a kind of certain mood, but I want to be, I wanted to give this feeling of existence when you jump from a moment of total happiness as huge as a kind of vision, as a kind of miracle, to deep despair. And I think that you can feel the way the movie is I think at the same time terrible and hilarious.
But the military and masculinity in general are themes that you go back to over and over again. And here you get the sense that it's just so awful, and yet the camera is like gazing over them lovingly and, with desire. Can you talk about that scene in particular?
Yes, I guess that since I'm also in a way obsessed by what I feel is that the Israeli disease, or the Israeli collective sick soul, and well, afterwards all the societies are sick. Each society is sick in its own way. There's this sentence that I like, that all the countries are terrible and mine is the worst. So I think that each one of us can tell this sentence. But since I deal with it, so I think that I feel that the incarnation of this soul and the terrible perversion of this soul is and also, but at the same time, as you said, also the beauty, or the physical beauty of this place is lying in the army, in the military service, in a very large way. I think I always feel that in Israel, from my own personal experience, in a way, in Israel, you begin the army when you're 5 years old, and you never end it, you never finish. So if we talk about it, I think that politically, ideologically, I have only bad things to say about the army. Of course, it's terrible. It's perverting the values, the moral, the aesthetic sense, everything of Israel. At the same time, there are aesthetic instincts. I cannot escape, and I don't. And why would I? The fact that for me, people in uniform, it's something beautiful. No, whenever I talk with my French friends, I see to which extent for them people in uniform it's something strange, ugly, or frightening. I think that people in uniform are appealing. I think on this sense, I have the same. I have this Israeli aesthetic instinct that said you're never as beautiful as when you wear uniform.
But some people fetishize it as well, right? So,
yes, yeah. So this fetishization, I don't know what I say, exists. Yeah, exists also in the movie. I guess that maybe it exists also in my previous movies, but maybe here it goes even one step further.
This film has done so well already. Has it led to any uncomfortable conversations with any Israeli authorities?
It led to quite a strange dialogue with the actual Minister of Culture in Israel. There was a kind of political change, and kind of yet everything is more or less the same. But maybe the music hasn't changed, but the tone is a bit different. So now there's a new guy there, and he's much nicer. So he didn't tell me that. I mean, he wasn't really threatening. He didn't really talk to me, but he gave an interview when he said something like, I don't know, that he's fed up answering on question of this movie, or he's not going to pass his life talking about this strange movie that was in Cannes, and that is not representing the beauty of and the truth of Israel or something like this. But okay, why not? But I must say that in general, if I talk about reactions in Israel, so on one hand, they were very, very conflictual, and the movie was mainly was attacked mainly by people who haven't watched it, by all sorts of important mediatic figures of the right wing, mainly of the right wing, by politicians, and by some lead social media figures. And as a result, I started to get all sorts of really threatening phone calls and and sort of thing like this, and really not very nice experience. But maybe it's a part of the essence of the movie. At the same time, I've never got such emotional and moving reactions from people who went to theater to watch it. I think that what really moved me, and really like people were going out and with tears in their eyes and shaking, and that. But what really moved me is that I felt that there's certain, maybe a lot of people in Israel that understand the movie, I think, as it is, not as a concrete film about a certain or specific political issue in Israel. I don't know, freedom of speech, artistic freedom, etc., who deals with as if it was, I don't know, a Ken Loach movie or something. I don't have anything against Ken Loach, but just as an example. But I think as it's for me. I mean, I think that they saw it as a movie who try to understand how living under a certain political ambience or political context, or pervert your reflection in the mirror, changes your face, the way you walk, the way you breathe, and the way you look at other people. I read short time ago, after I finished, of course, the movie, a quote of Nietzsche. You say Nietzsche? Nietzsche. That I think that in a way, I mean, I'm convinced that he wrote it about AHED'S KNEE, and in a very free. I mean, if I make kind of free translation, he said there that something like he who fights against monsters should put attention to not to become a monster himself. If you gaze too much time at the abyss, or if you look too much time at the abyss will look back at you. And I think that, I mean, I don't like to resume movies in one sentence, but if I had to resume the movie in one sentence, it's more or less this.
And we're out of time, so I think you ended with a perfect quote. Nadav, thank you so much for this conversation and for
Thanks a lot. It was a pleasure.
us. We're very happy.
Thanks, Andrea. And